I have to really question myself and wonder if the internet is a real place, if there's actually people out there watching these videos. I know there's plenty of content that I've watched over the last couple days where I've had to question whether that was a real person behind the camera or not. We've got filters on the cameras. For instance, with this camera, I'm using my cell phone right now, and I have the portrait video feature so that I can use the front facing camera and it can kind of blur my background out and all that good stuff. And it could almost look like an AI video. But I'm a real person, I assure you. I'm a person who goes to sleep, who gets up, has a morning routine just like everybody else. I read, I meditate, and I try and come up with topics to speak on that would be beneficial to whoever would listen to my videos. But there's a problem that I run into when I get on social media or just on the internet, period. And there's a lot of content that seems to just be put out there to garner a reaction. And it's weird because the internet puts you in this space where you're at a conflict with yourself, where you do have opinions on certain topics. You would like to express your opinion on certain topics, but in expressing that opinion on those topics, you'll end up getting yourself sucked into a conversation that really would waste too much time to be considered worth it. Whereas social media used to be a net positive for people where I could get online and connect with people that I really cared about and people that I still care about, where I could get online and we could catch up, we could see what's going on in each other's lives, and we can use that as an opportunity to maybe see if the stars would align so that we could all get together and share a moment like we did when we were in high school, or with family members like your cousins, how you did when you were younger, before all the adult activities and responsibilities got in the way. But now, everybody's sharing memes. Everybody is taking other people's intellectual product. They're taking videos, reels created by other people and posting it to their page. And it's really difficult to connect with anybody at this point. It seems that all the content that we run into on the internet is put out specifically for us to have issues with each other. Somebody wants us all at odds. Either that or somebody wants to sell us on some kind of dream, which, don't get me wrong, I'm a person who experiments. I'm a person who wants to advance and maybe do things that are out of the ordinary in life. And I like to hear those perspectives and see how different people are living. But what I've found is that in this life, the greatest currency that any of us have is our attention spans. And even people, whether they're down with the program or they're not, they may be doing this unknowingly, but people want to take your attention. They want to rile you up. I believe the term that people use nowadays is rage bait, and there's plenty of rage bait on the internet. Sometimes it's put out by bots. Other times it's put out by human beings behaving like bots. Because ultimately, the main goal for all of us is to garner as much attention as we can garner on any given day when we're on the internet. And it's sad. I do like the idea that YouTube has where they want us to foster community. But I don't want a community to grow up around my channel that turns into a space that limits free thought. Kind of like George Carlin said, it's like when you meet people individually, they can be wonderful. But as people start to group up, people just become insufferable. And I really believe that. I believe that it's past time for all the arguments and all the discord. And I'm not throwing a shot at the app, but I'm talking about the word discord, just as far as it being, uh, conflict. It's another word for conflict in the way that I'm using it. And the internet tends to want people to be at odds. They want conflict. They want people to create think pieces and write essays and comment sections about who's right and who's wrong, when at the end of the day, I don't believe that that type of energy serves anybody any good. You don't make any kind of progress. We don't learn anything. We just get more entrenched in our beliefs as we listen to someone else advocate for theirs. I believe we've got to get to a point in this life where we've got to learn to live with differences. And because being able to live in harmony with differences isn't very profitable for the people behind the screen, for the people who run this whole show, whether it be out in the real world or whether it be online, we're going to continue to see all of the rage bait, all of the AI produced content that's meant to keep us sucked into the rabbit hole, that's supposed to take all of our time and attention away from tasks that we could be doing to improve our lives. I remember there was a time since I've been alive when even the TV would go off for the night. I remember late nights, and it really wasn't even that late, where you would watch a TV show, it would go off, and there would be a national anthem broadcast, and then the TV would just go off. Now, through all of our electronic devices, through social media, through things like YouTube, through all the other things that may be out there, we theoretically could get our fix of entertainment 24 hours a day. But even that is not the problem that I want to address, because it's good to be able to have anything that you want on demand, which is why people love America from that aspect. There is a level of convenience here that I believe is unrivaled. And when you sit here and think about the internet spreading to the entire world, it's a great thing for you to be able to get online, see a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of escapism at any time you want. But the problem is that we get into these artificial conflicts. And that's not something that I really like. I don't like to get on and scroll through a random reel and just see content that could make me upset. And a lot of times I have to sit back and breathe for a second, where I may see someone say something, or I may feel the urge to respond to a video. And I'll start typing. I'll start formulating in my head what I'm going to say. And then I realize, who am I benefiting by taking my time out doing this? And rarely can I ever find an instance where I'm benefiting anybody. So we've got to be careful just what we allow to take our attentions away with. Maybe we should go back to the old days where we would have a certain interest, something that we may want to learn how to do, consume content on that, and then go outside touch some grass, as they say. Let a little sunshine fall on your face, because this internet thing is getting out of hand. And I know it's counterintuitive for me to have a goal to create content while telling people that they need to get outside. But it's true. There's a mental health crisis, there's a male loneliness crisis that people speak of. And I don't know how true that is. I know for me, I don't hang out a lot, but I've also got goals. I go to school, I try and run businesses, I just try and work so that I can be productive, which doesn't leave a whole lot of time for me to really socialize. But if you're feeling lonely, get a hobby. Especially as a man, we can almost link up with anybody based off of just a shared interest. I mean, there may be two guys who like fishing and they could become best buds. But this internet thing, especially with the new AI videos, you just don't know who is who and what's what anymore. And even as I make this video and I'm speaking to my camera, I don't know who's going to watch this, if anybody. But I just know that the internet is evolving. And that dead internet theory that people talk about, it may actually be true. It's only one way to find out, I guess. And how this will affect all of us going forward is really only one way to find out. But right now, I would suggest, like the old days on the Nintendo Wii, how when you would play it for an hour and it would show you this picture of an open window, suggesting that maybe we all go outside and get a little fresh air and come back when we all feel a little better. I think that would be a great idea, because if your purpose for getting online, for making think pieces or content is to tear someone down, or if your purpose is to debate, or if your purpose is to spread an agenda that involves politics, I think it's time that we all had a break, because it's driving us all a little crazy. They say the internet might be dead, and I believe I'm starting to come to that way of thinking myself. I'm just making this video and all my future videos in hopes that that's not the case. If you made it this far in the video, consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and leaving a comment. I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments, but I will catch you in the next one.